Hey everybody, Allan Sanders here, and today we're talking about how you should pay your band. And I just wanted to share my experience of what that's been like over the years. And I've tried it several different ways, and I want to start out by talking about the way that I got stuck with the longest, and that was that everyone just split it evenly. So we would split it evenly between our bandmates and our sound guy. And we got to a point at some time, I don't even remember how we arrived to this, but we said, oh my gosh, we should probably take out expenses because we're driving a long way. So obviously the owner of the car needs gas money. And we had been expecting him to take it out of his own earnings. And so we started out by just taking gas money out of our overall income. And we got to a point then where we said, we have other expenses as well. So, like, let's set aside gas money plus 10% of our income. And, by the time we went to produce records and pay for business cards and advertising and all this other stuff, we could easily pay for those things, you know. So then we got to a different level. We said, as band members, we're practicing throughout the week. We're selling our own CDs. And honestly, our sound guy doesn't participate in a lot of the things that we're doing throughout the week. So we're going to pay him a percentage of what we're doing. And we decided on 12% with a raise over time to like 15%. And just to put that into perspective, we only made 19% as a band. So, that's not to discount what the sound guy was doing. The sound guy is super important. And at the end of the day, you have to look at the work that we're doing versus what he was doing. We're still setting the system up with him. I EQ'd the mix. He mixed it live. And he just didn't put in as much work throughout the week. So after doing that for some time, it worked for us. But eventually I stopped playing music and had a hard reset and came back into it a few years later, and I adopted a new system that was different than anything I'd ever done, that I know has been done several times. But I started charging more money for gigs. I started doing set rates, so there was no guessing as to how much money we would get for the gigs. I would give the band a set rate plus any expenses that they needed. So I would say, like, "All right, I'm going to pay you $150 for this gig, and I will essentially take home what is left over." And sometimes that was like double pay. Sometimes it was just over like the normal 150 or whatever, the rate was that I booked for that gig. And a lot of people say, well, that's not fair necessarily. And, as a band leader, I would justify this as I do the work. Let's think about all the work that was done. I booked the gig. I'm in constant communication with the client. I found other available players, which is not an easy thing to do in Oklahoma sometimes. I put together the set lists, the practices, put together the travel plans with the hotels and all the lodging and all that stuff. I drove my car with a trailer, brought my own PA system, set it up, EQ'd it, played the gig with everyone else, broke it down, sold CDs that I recorded, mixed, and mastered. And then at the end of the day, I would take it all back home and eventually settle down, pay everybody, and be done with it. So as a band leader, it was significantly more work than just showing up to the gig, setting up the PA system a little bit, and just going home. So a lot of people would say, well, you shouldn't take home, a lot more than the rest of your band. And that I think that's true to a certain extent. But the people that I'm with now, that I work with, understand how much work goes into it, and they know that I truly value them and I won't stiff them, and that at the end of the day, it'll be fair for everybody who is involved. And so far, it has worked out great, I think. And, if you're starting out, you may not be able to do this right away. If you can't set like higher rates to pay your band members a flat fee, honestly, you just have to do what you can, and you have to go back to that very first model that we talked about in the beginning and basically split it up evenly. That's kind of what worked for us when I started. And, you basically just have to do whatever you have to do. So, at the end of the day, I would say, do what works for you. Don't forget that you're all in it together, and make sure you're all on the same page. And I know that everybody will be satisfied if you sit down, talk about it, and set the expectations up right away. So, man, I hope you got some insight from this video, and make sure to like and subscribe for more videos just like this. I hope to see you soon.